And it's so good to see people again and be out. I see you all got the dress code, COVID casual. And so much has happened, in the last 2 years. Before I get into that, I wanted to, again, thank the committee for having me back. And we were sitting at the table here having breakfast, and Renee got a little pop-up on her screen. Renee, by the way, is my fiancée. Take a bow, Renee. And I want to mention that because the pop-up she got on her screen was Facebook from 6 years ago, when probably, I think we just met, maybe it was one of our first trips, it was here. And Facebook reminded us, of this beautiful moment and so many memories here at Mid-South Pets. And now you have memories of Mid-South Pets, and I hope that you're going to take many of them back with you. During COVID, it was an interesting time, just a rough time for a lot of people. Some had it worse than others. I, of course, make a living in the big event business, and it was a shock to my system to not be out and doing my thing and helping people. And it's nice to be back in rhythm again. That's kind of what we're looking to do today, I heard somebody say that the current club presidents, raise your hand if you're a current club president. Do we have any in the room? Yeah, of course. That your job is to shepherd the clubs out of virtual into physical. That's what's happening right now. And next year's president, raise your hand if you're a president-elect. Yeah, look at you guys. Your job is to usher the club back into rhythm again, right? Rhythm. Now, before I became a professional speaker, I was in the music business. I came up on the rock band circuit with my brothers, videos on YouTube of Michael with big hair. And we had a blast. And in the music business, when we talk about something like rhythm, we talk about something called BPM. Anybody? Beats per minute. That's exactly right. And beats per minute says, a good way to think about beats per minute, we had a CPR class not long ago, and if you're doing resuscitation for somebody, right, you're pumping to a disco song called Stayin' Alive, oddly enough, by the Bee Gees. So it's, staying alive, staying alive, right? I dare you to not do disco moves while you're saving somebody's life. And that's BPM. And in the speaking business, it's WPM, which is what? Words per minute. And it's interesting, I just came from Great Lakes. Mark Maloney was there. It's great to see Mark again. And in the speaking business, when they give you a 2-minute chance to tell your Rotary story, what they're really saying to you is, you have 300 words, because the average person speaks at 150 words a minute. I'm at about 175, 180 right now because of the energy of my talk and where I'm going. But the average person, 150. So as president of your club, when you turn the microphone to somebody, please don't tell them, I'm going to give you some tips for this, right? Don't tell them you have 2 or 3 minutes. That's a 33% differential, 2 to 3 minutes. And you're managing your meeting time. So tell them they have 300 words, especially if they've prepared their speech, because it's easy to do a word count in a document and know exactly if you're going to be on time or not. You see, when we get on stage, something happens called time dilation. And that's why you think you talked for 5 minutes, but you really talked for 15. Yeah, I'm talking to you. So much of what you're going to be doing this year is time management, of course. And Renee and I are going to be going around to help you with some other things. Thank you to the DGEs that are having us into the breakout rooms. We still have time to do 1 or 2 more if you want to hit us up afterward. But we'll come in and do a quick pop-up for you. And I'll help you with presentation skills. Renee's a nutrition expert. She's going to help you take better care of yourself this year. Because if you don't take care of yourselves, you cannot take care of other people. Do you understand me? So please do not neglect yourself in this year of giving back. It's really important that you take care of yourselves. So for me, like during COVID, I felt like there were these seminal moments, during COVID where I just felt like the sun was on my face for the first time in a long time. I'm from Michigan. We handled COVID differently than some other states did. And all the states found their way, fortunately. But up in Michigan, the deal was when I got my first vaccination, I'm like, man, this is cool. I'm Superman again. Until I realized I had to get 18 more bonus shots, And And the second time I felt like this really sunshine coming through the clouds was when they lifted the mask mandate in Michigan. That felt really good to me. And the next one's going to be when they don't require masks on airplanes, which we had to wear, of course, on the way down here for this trip. And so I've just been looking for that, looking for those moments, because that's what gave me rhythm. That's what helped me get my mojo back, right? And so back to beats per minute for a second. There's different types of beats per minute. There's different types of rhythm. You think about when I had that feeling, I was Superman again, or the sun's coming on my face. I felt like, a song, like, what's the Barry Manilow song? We made it through the rain, kept ourselves protected, right? And that's a different kind of rhythm than the song that I came up to, which was boom shakalaka boom shakalaka boom, right? And the question is, as you become president of your club, what kind of rhythm do you want the club to have? Do you want that really nice and easy, mosey kind of rhythm? Is that what your club needs right now as they come out of a 2-year pandemic? Or do they need a little resuscitation? Because it's you, Mr. and Ms. President, that are able to deliver that to them. But you got to make up your mind now. That's why we had you come to this weekend. Now is your time. Some of you have been thinking, we need to make some changes in our club. You said it last year, you said it the year before, you said it the year before that, and guess what? It's on you now. You have the ability to make that change. You not only have the ability to change your clubs, to improve them, you have the obligation. And you can do it with something called position power. In the speaking business, we call it podium power. If you hear somebody at the podium say it, it must be true. It's true in politics. You heard somebody say it, it must be true. Don't really need to read up on that. So I started thinking about this rhythm thing a long time ago. It's really important to me. I hope I have your attention on this. And then I heard a really great phrase last night. Thank you, sir. Your first name again. We were drinking last night, Dave. But Dave is a military expert. He actually teaches at a war college. Do I have that right? And he was talking about this thing he called it conflict, not resolution, but conflict transformation. And, I'm a writer and I'm a speaker and I used to write songs. I just really like turns of phrase, and I heard that. And even in my alcoholic haze last night, my ears went like this. What did you just say? And he said, change transformation. Because some of you have conflict in your clubs, right? And you're trying to solve the conflict. As president, you want everybody in your club to be happy. Raise your hand if that's true. You want everybody to be happy. That is a silly goal. That ain't never going to happen, man. What are you thinking? I mean, you even be really clear, we're voting on this, and then when 2 people don't want to do it, you'll spend the rest of the meeting trying to convince them. It's majority rule, baby. If that was what you set up, it's going to, we're going to vote on this. You don't have to change everybody's mind. That's conflict transformation. Far more important to have the other person know that you're hearing them. Am I right? That you're understanding them. Is that important? Of course. You see, that's what makes a good president. It's not making everybody happy. Renee and I were at an event in Royal Oak, Michigan not long ago where we had the pleasure of hearing the mayor of Royal Oak, Jim Ellison, give a State of the City address. And there's some unhappy people at every State of the City address. And this guy stood up in the back. You could just tell by his body language that Mayor Ellison was going to get an earful. And this guy starts on him, and the media's there, and Ellison's an old hand in politics, and he's smooth, and he's just listening to the guy, and the guy just read him the riot act. And he finished, and the room's all abuzz, and it was like that old E.F. Hutton commercial. Everybody looked at Jim to see how he was going to handle this, And Jim says, "Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your opinion. I listened to you carefully, and I want to say this." And you could hear a pin drop. And Ellison said, "I appreciate that you're not happy with my decision, but my job is not to make everybody in the city happy. My job is to make decisions that are in the best long-term interest of our community." He got a standing ovation, and the other guy sat down. Isn't that a great line? You can use it. My job is not to make everybody in the club happy. My job is to make decisions that are in the best long-term interest of our club. And then I always follow with something called a yes question. When you ask a yes question, you nod your head yes. And I know some of you are thinking, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. That could never work. It works like a charm, man. So the yes question goes like this. Does that sound okay to you? And you nod your head yes. I'm doing it with you right now. Does that sound good to you? Try to nod your head no. Try to shake your head no as I'm doing this. You can't do it. I can't even do it. So what's interesting to me is during COVID, man, I just had so much time to think. You all had more time than you normally have. You didn't have to commute maybe for a while, or job was weird, or and we had so much time, and I started to think about all kinds of stuff. It was like my life was flashing before my eyes, And so I had these, I call them COVID epiphanies, right? I could have had these epiphanies anytime, but I happened to have them when I had more time to think. So everything slows down, and I start thinking about my life. And the first COVID epiphany was, I realized after all this time in the speaking business, all my time in sales when I was making outbound calls, 50 outbound calls a day to people I would never meet, trying to get them to cut a PO to buy telephone equipment for their PBXs, for their switches at work, And that's how I learned sales and persuasion, right? Now I teach that stuff today. And I started thinking all the way back, and I realized I started with nothing, and I still have most of it. That was my first epiphany. Another epiphany that I had was that I really enjoy service. I missed it. I missed it in a way I didn't miss work. I missed it in a way I didn't miss speaking or traveling. There's something about helping people I don't know that juices me, man. It turns me on. I will never, ever leave service. And I came in through the group study exchange in 1996. And to go on the group study exchange, this trip, right, you could not be a Rotarian. And I learned so much about Rotary in the 6 months prepping for the trip. I said, I'm going to join this organization when I get back. And I did. And I became president in 13-14. Then I became governor a short time after that. And I just love it. I think it's great. And I hope you enjoy the greatest service organization in the world. Do you? So I had these interesting thoughts again, with the slowdown. All this time I started to think, I really value my time. I'm going to start treating my time differently. I'm going to even treat the time I spend with Rotary differently. Because sometimes we waste time in our organization. Hands up if you agree. Hands up if you agree with me. Sometimes our time is not well spent. And as president, you have to provide value. In sales, we call it the value prop or the value proposition. People have to get something out of coming to your club. And the interesting thing about coming to the club is a lot of times that whatever that is, it's not measurable. When we do the four-way test, somebody always says, and we want to have fun. And that's a great goal, but fun is not quantifiable, and fun is different for 30-somethings than it is for 70-somethings. So it's fascinating. As president, you have a chance to shape that. Just like I had a chance to shape a value proposition for you in this 20 minutes. You have a value prop every hour, or whatever it is, in your club every week. And you can make it happen. Or you can do what they did last year and waste a bunch of time, if that's what happened last year. So I want you thinking about this as we wrap up today. I spoke last week, I think I mentioned, at Great Lakes Pets in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and this is just total happenstance, and I never talk about this in a speech, but it just happened, and here it is, and it was just, it's one of those things, again, that grabbed me during COVID. I had more time to think. During COVID, my high school band director passed away, and he was only 7 years older than me, which was an interesting story unto itself. But I've been thinking about Rick Goward and how he passed. He didn't die of COVID. He died of something else, but it was just one of those times I dwelled on it more than I might have dwelled on it in other situations, right? And then I go to Great Lakes Pets, and somebody from the Dearborn Club, which Rick belonged to, he didn't belong to, neither of us knew Rotary when I had him for a teacher, But later, I joined Rotary, and then later after that, Rick Goward joins Rotary in the Dearborn Club, and the lady from Dearborn sitting right over there. And after my talk, because I talked about Rick Goward, just by chance, she comes up and says, I'm from the Dearborn Club. And I'm like, how does this happen? And Rotary, this happens in Rotary all the time. And I said, I'm so sorry about Rick passing. And she said, yeah, he was a good man. And she said, that's why I'm here at Pets. And I said, you're going to tell me Rick Goward was going to be president of your club next year? And she said, that's right. And we're doing our centennial this year. We're celebrating 100 years of the Dearborn Club. And I think you would be a great speaker, and we want you to talk about Rick. And that's what Rotary does, man. There's this connective tissue that you just don't see, and it's there. It's that secret in the community that nobody talks about enough. It's that fabric that that lies under everything else, right? It's a beautiful thing, and I want more people to know about it, and I know you do in your community because that's how you grow your club. So the time thing's on my mind a lot, and the other thing that was interesting to me is because I do a lot of writing and I publish a lot of self-help or things that can help people. I started thinking about creativity and how it works, and I started, I put up a video on YouTube every day during the pandemic. My YouTube channel is rocking, man. Subscribe to it and click that silver bell. You'll know when the new videos come, and lots of speaking tips in there, and it's a super easy way to learn, right? 2 minutes at a time, you get a tip whenever. And I started thinking about college because in college I took one art class. And it was a funny story because I said to my counselor, I want to take an art class, and they always have somebody keeping you on track so that you can graduate in 6 years. And she says, Michael, what do you want to take art for? It's not in your curriculum. You don't have to take it. I know, but I want to take it. Yeah, but it's going to put you behind. I said, I know, but I'm never going to take an art class again. I want to take it now. She says, okay. So I took it. And in art class, I learned something about drawing that I didn't really appreciate before, and that is when, like a pencil drawing, and I'm talking about now a Snoopy line cartoon where it's just an outline of a dog with an eye and an eyebrow. I'm talking about a sophisticated, Jerome, a sophisticated pencil drawing. Thousands and thousands of strokes, hash marks, hatching, cross-hatching, shadows, right? That is what your events should look like. That is what the kind of work your speakers should do when they come to your club. I would never, ever have a speaker come to my club if I hadn't seen a 2-minute video of that speaker first. Blows my mind. That got your attention, didn't it? Blows my mind. Program chairs have speaker come in just to fill the calendar, just to have somebody there. And what does everybody think about that speaker after they're done? Well, that filled the calendar. Nobody saw the speaker, not even the program chair. And the speaker didn't think enough of themselves to have a 2-minute video on YouTube. It's madness, everybody. So by creating, let's look at the close-up. Look at all of that, all of the little marks that go into a good event, or a good talk, or your installation speech, or your state of the club speech, if you ever have to give one. That's how it works. Thank you, JB. I don't know if we ever acknowledge these guys in the back, Jerome, and he's got a crew back there, actually, and they're fantastic people. Wave to the techs in the back of the room. So I just love thinking about all this stuff, and I hope I've got your attention. I want to give you a couple of things that you can do to improve your club meetings. You're going to get out your pen for this because although we have video, sometimes you don't see the video when it's done. I would hunt this video down. I would hunt down any segment that was recorded this week so that you can relive it because you got fire hose this weekend, did you? I keep telling meeting planners, fire hosing is not a form of hydration. So let's start with this. I talked earlier about how you can't please everybody in your club. There are very few things in life that can please everybody. Like, for example, tacos make everybody happy. So the first thing I want you to write down is, I am not a taco. You cannot make everybody happy. You are not a taco. Next thing I want you to think about is if you ring a bell. Raise your hand if you're still ringing a bell at your meetings. Lots of people do. And the bell's over here. And when you go over to ring the bell, here's a little trick I want to show you, right? Most of us, especially in the beginning of the year, we're a little tentative about the bell. Or, you know, I've seen people try to ring the bell. They swing at it and miss. You know? I want you to actually practice ringing the bell before it's time. And here's the key. When you ring the bell all year, I want you to not look at the bell. I want you to look at the audience. And here's the expression I want you to have on your face when you ring the bell. It's a smile. Because if the first thing people see is a deer in the headlights, cling. You see the problem. And so that expression on your face sets the tone, everybody. It's so important. The president sets the tone. And you can do it even before you ring the bell. I think the president should be physically greeting everybody that comes in the meeting. When I say physically, I mean a handshake or a hug if it's appropriate. I visited a club once. They were French kissing. C'est la vie. So you're physically greeting everybody. What do you think happens when a visitor comes to your club and they are physically greeted by everybody in the club? Do you understand that people that come to your club are auditioning you? Tell me you understand this. They're leaving you to go to the Lions Club, and then they're going to go to the Optimist Club, then they're going to go to the local Knights of Columbus, and they're joining the club that feels the best to them. Hello? And if everybody in your club says hello to the visitors, it'll make a huge impression. By definition, a club treats its members better than everybody else in the room. Because you know that her dog got lost last week, and you're asking about the dog. Visitor's sitting right here. Visitor didn't even know she had a dog. Who should you be talking to? Visitor. How are you? Do you have any pets? You can catch up with her later, right? The visitor. All eyes on the visitor. That's how you pay attention to people. You treat them like celebrities. They come back. Beautiful. How about the middle of the meeting? I would do things like this. I would do shout-outs. Is Tom Mann here today? I haven't seen his bright face this morning. Maybe, oh, there he is. Last time I saw you, you had a full head of hair. Yeah, COVID. By calling Tom Mann out, everybody looks to see who he is, and Tom gets a chance to interface with me. Good morning, Judy. How are you this morning? Nice to see you. And I can do this all day long. Hi, Gail. How are you? Feeling good? Looking forward to your drive home? Okay, good. And I can move the spotlight around the room from the stage or from the, what we call in the speaking business, the platform. Most of you don't have stages at your club, but there's a platform where people speak from, right? And I can give attention to everybody in the room like this. Come around. So that's another trick that you can do in the middle of the meeting to keep everybody engaged. At the end of the meeting, every time you speak, because you're going to be doing board of directors meetings, all kinds of things, I want you to deliver at the end of all of those segments what's called a CTA. Write it down, CTA, and that stands for Call to Action. Call to Action. I want you to ask people to do something, even if it's something small, every time you're at the microphone. You're the president. They expect you to ask them to do something. There was a lovely segment last night where John Germ was telling everybody, you know, you got to have expectations of people, and when you do, they will deliver for you. But you have to make those expectations clear. And I'll demonstrate, and I'll do it right now. So I have an expectation of you. The expectation is that we would keep in touch. The expectation is that you're not done learning after I'm done speaking today or after you leave this event. Too often you go to pets and it vaporizes like a radio broadcast. You're never going to hear it again. I want to keep in touch with you. And I'm going to offer you ongoing tips and tricks for leadership. Is that okay with you? Yeah. So the next slide we want to show you is a QR code. And if one good thing came from COVID is we all learned how to use QR codes at restaurants. And some of you get the idea. And if you're seated right in the middle and it doesn't work for you, you might want to get out of your chair and go snap it. But here's how to get my free presentation checklist. You're all going to be doing 50 more presentations in the next year than you did last year. And the way your presentation will not be perfect I promise you this now, is you're going to leave stuff out. When you leave stuff out, it's not a perfect presentation. I rarely leave anything out of my presentation because I use a checklist, and I'm sharing it with you. I've been adopting it and adapting it for decades now, so there you go. If that's not working for you, you can use michaelangelocaruso.com/presentation-checklist, and I can remind you about it later if you want. Oh, I'm going to get you. We're going to be connected. I'm going to be your new BFF in Rotary. The other thing I want to share with you, when JB's ready, he can flash it, is this free ebook with leadership tips, ways that you can, again, become a better leader for your club. Some of you may be out of practice. Some of you will have this issue. You're a leader at work, and everybody loves you at work, but your club doesn't think of you as a leader yet or president. Even on July 1st, when you get up in front of the room and say, you ring that bell, I'm your new president, they go, whatever. You know, you're the same guy we've been sitting with for, 7 years, so we don't have to listen to you. No, but they do. You are the leader now. And these are ways that you can put that into place, so it's terrific. Okay, I wanted to quickly acknowledge some people in the room. This is another technique that you can use in your meetings to give people attention and help them feel good. Jennifer mentioned early on that she gives people recognition in the club, and because they didn't know who was going to be recognized next, everybody came to the meetings. Attendance actually improved. So I'm going to ask, of the presidents-elect, people that are going to take office next year, who is the oldest, most senior Rotarian? Now, who's been in Rotary the longest that's taking the presidency next year? Who are we talking about? 8 years in Rotary, 10 years in Rotary, 23 years. I don't care if you're going to be president a second or third time, that's okay. Who is the oldest Rotarian in the room that's about to be president? Stand up if you think you might qualify. Let's have some fun. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Well, you're pretty young, man. I think you're either pranking me or you can't follow instructions. I don't know which. How many years have you been in Rotary, sir? 33. How many years in Rotary? 31. You could sit down. How many years in Rotary? Okay, you can sit. Okay, thank you. How many years? What? You just wanted to be recognized. And it worked. And everybody else sat down. Sir, your name? Hey, Jim, what club are you in? Oh, sorry. How many years for you, sir? How many years? Okay, thank you very much. You may be seated. 33 years. What's your first name? And what club are you in? That's fabulous. Thank you. Stand up, sir. Stand up. Now I want to know the youngest tenured Rotarian who is going to be president next year. This is always fun. You've been in Rotary a short time. Suddenly, he already knows who he is. Suddenly you find yourself in line to be president. And you're thinking to yourself, how in the hell did this happen? Oh, look at this. Okay, let's find out. How long have you been in Rotary? How long have you been in Rotary? Okay, you can sit a year. If you haven't been in Rotary a year yet, okay, you know how this works now. How long have you been in Rotary? Okay, you could sit. Did you think I couldn't convert months to years? You think I have long haul COVID? Okay, so people figuring it out now, sitting down on their own, thank you. How long have you been in Rotary, sir? 5 months? 9. How about you? 9 months can sit down. 8 months you're standing. Year you can sit down. Where are you? 7 months. What is your name, please? And why did you have to look at your name badge just now? She says, Ann. And sir, your name again? David, stand up. And I want you to come meet Ann right now, please. Ann, meet David, the youngest experienced president meeting the oldest experienced president. You two. You two need to exchange cards or something. I want to do one more little quick thing of Q&A, and then we're going to let you go. But before we do, I want to give away a couple of book packages. Again, just to help. This is the Work Hacks book. It's filled with all kinds of techniques that you can use at work and also in your club, time-saving advice, presentation skills, that sort of thing. And this is the Hmmm booklet, okay? I want to give 2 sets of these away if you want to quietly get out your business card or create one. And then we're going to have people in all 4 corners of the room. Sir, raise your hand. Thank you. In the back, a hand. Anybody? Thank you. Perfect. In the back corner here, a hand raised, please. Thank you. And over here. And if you could have over here. If you could sweep toward the middle of the room and collect the business cards, we'll do the drawing that way. Thank you very much. By the way, I would love to, I have some packets available afterward, and I'll give you a Rotary discount. These would normally be 30 online. I'll do 20 today. I would love to give my stuff away, but that wouldn't be beneficial to all concerned, now would it? So bring the cards up to me when you're ready. Just hold your cards up, and they'll swing by and pick them up. Let's do some quick Q&A with people in the room who want to ask a question. And you can ask about anything. Anything at all. Running a meeting, dealing with conflict, increasing membership. Yes, sir. Thank you. The question is, I feel very comfortable on stage. I seem comfortable on stage. How can you be more comfortable on stage? Coming from a guy wearing a bow tie. Test. I would imagine you, sir, are very comfortable with yourself. Am I right? Yeah. I think practice makes perfect. Dale Carnegie in the book How to Win Friends and Influence People said that if you want to be comfortable at something you're not comfortable at, do it more often. And I promise you, in week 26 of the year, you will become a better president. In week 26. One other technique I do is when I'm at meetings like this, thank you for dropping them. Right here's good. When I'm at, and you stay up with me and you can do the drawing, okay, Deb? When you're at a meeting like this, this gentleman raised his hand to talk. You see, he just got some practice. You may have questions, but I don't want to be the first question. I don't want to ask. You're about to go to district rooms. You have a chance to raise your hand and speak up. Do it. It's good practice. That little flutter in your heart, that's good, right? That means you're a little edgy, a little anticipatory. That's good. And the more of that you have, the better you get at it. Any other questions? Quickly. Yes, sir.
This may have to do with conflict, but you introduced your fiance. Have you set a wedding date yet?
I knew I should have stopped at one question. It's actually, I know, it's actually no problem at all. Renee's been very patient with me, and by the way, I don't know if you heard, there was a pandemic. So there's like a run on wedding venues right now, and prices, and a lot of people are flying in for us. So we're trying to figure it out. We put it off once. We talked to a lot of other people that had to cancel their wedding. It's a major pain to do that, but I think things are opening up now. And we thought it would be cool to celebrate our wedding every time we come to an event like this. We could do it 50 or 60 times next year. That'd be great. But thank you for your concern, sir. Yeah. No, I did not. Thank you. I'm going to regret this, too. Yes, Tom Mann has a question.
You visited a lot of clubs.
Yeah.
What are some of the best practices that you've seen that are different in clubs other than, the prayer and the four-way test and everything, or what's something unique you've seen in clubs that you don't see in everyone?
Yeah, thanks very much. So one of the things you could do, and back to art again, in art class, is we learned about things like the triangle. In art, there's always a triangle. There's a triangle in the Imagine logo because the line goes across so that the triangle here is invisible to you in a way. It's this point and this point and this point. Do you see the triangle now? But you didn't see it before, right? There's triangles everywhere in art. And there's triangles in music, 3 verses to almost every song, right? So there's triangles everywhere. And there's a thing in art called negative space. So negative space is what, like if you were looking at a photograph of me, it's everything that's around my head, right? So the answer to the question is sometimes leaving out something that's usually there creates the innovation. When Renee was president of her club, our club, a few years back, she earned, by the way, platinum distinction. That was one of the things that the president of Rotary International offered that year for the Rotary Citation, the club citation. High membership, high giving. Renee was a role model president. One of the things that she did, and it was just a conscious decision, she said, I'm not going to ring the bell this year. And there were some unhappy people in the club. But she thought it was Pavlovian. She thought she didn't need it. She thought if she just talked to people, that they would shut up and not, stop talking. She didn't need the bell. So she never rang it. And you know what? The world didn't end. And platinum distinction. Now, that might not work in your club, but it was just an idea of creating that negative space and leaving something out. Question?
One thing that our club struggles with is that we've got a lot of older members and a lot of younger members. And in the conflict transition you were talking about, how can we make that a smooth transition? I know you can break rules, you can break to tradition.
Yes.
But what would be your advice for starting that transition?
With leadership succession.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is interesting and a challenge, especially if you're in a small club. Raise your hand if you think your club is small. A lot of small clubs now, a lot of clubs getting smaller. Leadership succession becomes hard because you keep looking around the room for new people and there aren't any. Your next president, 2 years out, your next secretary, your next program chair, I'm zone public image coordinator for Zone 28. Your next public image person hasn't joined the club yet. You got to get some people in the club. Those are your next leaders because you're wearing your people down, and that's not good. It's not healthy. Your club cannot sustain like that. And here's the good news, everybody. We'll wrap with this, and we'll do the drawing. The value proposition for Rotary, for belonging to the greatest service organization, is as solid as it's ever been. Nothing's changed about giving back. In fact, if anything, that is more highly valued, more coveted by businesses these days than ever before. You see it, right? Helping other people is never been more trendy. And so why isn't membership climbing and climbing and climbing? And this is for another time, but I think we need to repackage our value proposition. We need to be more crafty about how we let people know about what's going on. We need to help them see the triangles and the things that they can't see under normal conditions. But let's stay connected and let's figure out how to do that, okay? I'm going to close with this offer. Thank you. Oh, my aide, Bruce McNeil, is here. What a surprise. Bruce picked up at the airport, picked Renee up with me, and I haven't seen him since. And his wife, Angela, came into breakfast this morning, and she said, I've lost Bruce. And I said, yeah, tell me about it. I'm just kidding, of course. This is a great man. Bruce.
First of all, you know your way around, and you don't need any help, okay? Well, you sent me a text, Michael, and I wanted to know the answer to that text. You said, good morning, honey.
Yeah, you're my honey. It's okay with me. Bruce has something much more important to tell you than that. Bruce McNeil and I had an adventure, man. Stay standing. Tell everybody about this thing that we did. I'll tee it up for you. So for some time now, I've been offering, some of you think, and I get this a lot, I come up to speak, and I'm a professional speaker, and everybody goes, that guy's slick, man. He's on the take, he's on the make. Let me tell you something. I never charge Rotary for talks. Renee is here on a very busy week to enjoy your company and to enjoy Mid-South Rotary, right? Mid-South Pets. And I've been doing these fundraising events, and they're available to you, where we bring people in. Bruce is going to tell you the results in just a second, where we bring people in off the street, potential Rotary members, the answer to your question from earlier. We charge them money for a professional development program, my content, and then we slip an application in their hand while they're there. We Rotarize them. And Bruce is going to tell you what happened when we did this for the Rotary Club of Dothan.
Renee, sorry about the competition. Michael came to the club. He was extremely gracious, very low cost to our organization. We advertised. We brought in Rotarians from the surrounding counties and communities. We brought in members of the community that were potential Rotarians.
How many attendees?
We had right at 100. That was our goal.
And how much money did you raise?
How much money? Our goal was $10,000. Guess how much we raised? $10,000. Wonderful success. Thank you.
So I didn't charge. He keeps the money. He got the venue for free. It was the biggest fundraiser. For some of these small clubs, it's the biggest fundraiser you'll do in a long time. And I'm happy to help with that. I'm happy to show you how it works. It's paint by numbers, and it's available to you. I only do 2 or 3 a year because I'm still working for a living. But I'm happy to help, and I love you guys, and we want you to be successful. I hope you've had that feeling this weekend. Yes? Okay, let's do a couple drawings here. You can choose the winners. Who do we got?
And we have from Erlanger, Kentucky, Florence W. Tandy.
Florence, come on down. There she comes. And who else?
And from Knoxville, Volunteer Rotary, Steve Catlett.
Steve. Thank you very much. You can just leave those there. Hey, Florence, come on. Steve? This is your luck has changed. That's exactly right. I'd be happy to sign for you afterward. Tell us the name of your club.
Covington Rotary,
How many members?
about 60.
What's your big goal this year?
To re-engage our Rotary members as a new community, or a community again.
You're going to get Barry Manilow, man. You're going to get that feeling again, right? Very good. Thank you very much. Stay with me 1 second. Sir, Steve.
Yes, sir.
I'll sign for you afterward. What club are you in?
Knoxville Volunteer Rotary, about 30 members.
Okay. And how do you feel?
I feel great.
What's your big goal this year?
Grow membership, but also kind of re-energize the club.
All right. I love it.
Beats per minute.
Beats per minute. Give Steve and Florence a hand, everybody. Thank you very much. Pleasure. Thank you. So I want to say goodbye. I haven't told this story for 2 years. Some of you have heard it, but it's 30 seconds. It's a great way to say so long. I was getting on an airplane once, and you know how people get on planes, taking their time like they got all the time in the world. And the pilot came on. He made a very unusual announcement. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, would you please take your seats? We'd like to leave early." I didn't know a plane could leave early, did you? And it's true. If everybody's on the plane can take off. He explains, we've got rough weather coming in, and if we don't leave right away, we're going to miss our window, which means you could miss your connections. We don't want that to happen. I'm telling you, man, this worked like a charm. Everybody sits down and buckles up right away. I don't know why they'll make that announcement every time you get on a plane. We're all sitting down, and then he makes another announcement. He says, okay, you can see that the weather's coming in. You know, it's going to be a fairly rough takeoff. We are suspending beverage service on this flight. We want to keep the flight attendants safe. We want you to know it's going to be a herky-jerky takeoff. Please don't be alarmed. Even though you can't see outside, it's very cloudy right now, we are flying in a safe condition, and everything's going to be okay. And that, of course, just made everybody more nervous. And we take off, and he was right, man. This is a herky-jerky takeoff, very erratic. And I noticed something that morning. I noticed that the higher we climbed, the less turbulence there was. You know what I'm saying, right? And the higher we climbed, and we climbed into bright, pristine sunshine. And you know why that is, Rotarians? Because just like in life, all you have to do is think about this. Think about this. That you just decide for yourself, do you want to fly your plane in the clouds or above them? Because above them, there is no turbulence. And that's all we were doing, is getting up into the wild blue yonder. And I wish that for you during your year as president. Thank you very much for all you do for the greatest service organization in the world. We'll see some of you in the district rooms. Thank you very, very much.